Welcome to this edition of the Forum. I'm your host, Shelia Evans. Here on the Forum, we highlight interesting and important achievements, programs, and events within our school system and community. And today's show is no exception. Things get underway with Eimer Smith, Director of New Hanover County Schools Child Nutrition Department. She joins us to talk about the Summer Food Service Program and will share all the details and locations of this year's program. Then we meet John Dale, Prevention Specialist, and Jay McDonald, Prevention Coordinator. They're with Coastal Horizons Center and Cape Fear Coalition for a Drug-Free Tomorrow. We discuss tips for parents on teen alcohol and drug use. And finally, we learn about ocean safety from a member of the Ocean Rescue Team at Curie Beach. It will be great information for those summer beach trips. It's another great edition of the Forum, so stick around. We'll get right back with our guests after this short break.
Batteries and flashlight. Okay, you know what?
That guy? Look.
Okay, girls, at 3 o'clock.
What is he looking at? They're looking at us. What do you think?
Oh, it's so obvious. Captain Obvious has scored again. Open your window, say something.
Oh, he's rolling his window down.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Shelia E. Music is vital to a quality education for every child in America. Children who study music do better in school and in their lives. Music in school keeps children in school. It gives you confidence, it's inspiring, and it just makes you feel good. Please get involved in your community and help make sure that music is part of every child's education. To learn how you can help, please visit www.supportmusic.com.
My next guest is Eimer Smith. She is Child Nutrition Director, and she's here to talk to us about the Summer Lunch Program. Eimer, we have this great sign. Tell us a little bit about the program.
Well, the sign is going to be out at all our sites. It is a summer food service program. The school system decides that we will feed, has approved that we will feed children throughout the county. Mm-hmm. And it's just not for school children in New Hanover County schools. It's for all children under the age of 18. So it can be any child age that, we would love to see families come in, different siblings just coming in, but we do have different sites throughout the county.
Okay.
And if you see our signs, you'll know that we'll have free meals at no cost there for lunch.
Now, is it no cost for the people over 18, or is there a minimal charge for them?
Over 18, there is a minimal charge. Okay. We are charging $30 per plate, which is reasonable, and I think a good affordable price for those over the age of 18. Now, if they are in the school system and they do have a mental or physical disability, they are a student of a school system, mm-hmm. then we can feed those children at no cost. Okay. But if it isn't a parent or an older teen that's coming in over the age of 18, then we do have that minimal cost.
Okay.
Related.
What are some examples of the sites?
Different sites. We are working with the City of Wilmington, so we do have some community partners as far as the Housing Authority is working with us with Vesta Village, Creekwood, Houston Moore, nice. Hillcrest, Gervais. We do have a church this year that we're working with, Warren Temple. And we also have several schools. Our own schools are going to have sites.
Oh, nice.
So we have Freeman, Snipes, Alderman, Wrightsboro, Castle Hayne. So there's different locations. Mary Sue Williams. We do have one of the mobile home parks we're going to be feeding the children out of that site off Carolina okay. Beach, Royal Palms. So we're very excited about the sites that we have this summer, and we're hoping to reach, more children than last summer. We fed a lot of children last summer. We fed almost 38,000 meals. So,
wow.
It's a quick pace, it's a short time period, but we know that during the summer months, there are still children that need a meal. So we're so proud and so thankful to New Hanover County Schools that will allow Child Nutrition to have this program run during the summertime to feed children.
Are the hours the same at all the locations?
They kind of vary. We try to keep them within the regular lunch time span. Some sites, I mean, the earliest we might have is 10:45, but usually the same, 11 to 12. We don't have anything past 1 o'clock, so that is something to keep in mind. So if you do, like to sleep in late, just remember that it's before the 1 o'clock period that we will have lunch available during that regular lunch period.
Are the meal offerings the same at all locations or different based on the kitchen and such?
Right, well, they're going to be all the same. We do have
okay.
some really delicious meals this summer. With child nutrition, we do have a lot of federal regulations that we have to follow as far as the fat, the calorie counts, the total fats, the saturated fats, sodium. So we do have a lot of nutritional, healthy meals that we're going to serve. Some of the things that kids are just used to seeing on the menus, and some of their favorites are going to be out at these sites.
Oh, good.
Chicken nuggets and grilled cheeses and pizza. But we do have one site that will have sandwiches every day, and that's the Royal Palm site. Just because of its location, we just have to, kind of service it a different way and handle the food a different way. So anyway, we're excited about being able to have this in New Hanover County and hoping to reach more children this summer.
Will folks be able to see a menu online or something for the locations?
Right now we have our menus online.
Okay.
We have all our sites, the time. You just go to New Hanover County Schools, go under Child Nutrition, and I think on New Hanover County Schools it's on their front page about the summer feeding program. And the great thing about it is at no cost. So that's important to a lot of families, during the summertime.
Sure. And when does it start?
It starts June 29th.
Okay.
So it is a Monday. We will feed Monday through Thursday. So June 29th through August 6th.
Okay. So a few weeks after school's out and a few weeks before school starts.
Correct.
Very
Yes,
good.
yes, because we do want, families, there are other sponsors in New Hanover County, but we want families to kind of, if they do have, just go away or, do something fun, but we do try to, get the bulk of the summer months.
Do you have day camps coming in to use this?
We do. We have several day camps that we are aware of. I know New Hanover County Schools has a few camps that they're going to have children attending the schools where the sites are located at the school sites. So that's going to help increase participation plus reach children that way. But there are some camps that New Hanover County Schools is offering.
And are the locations strategically placed all around the county?
Correct. We have a lot of inner city, what I call central sites. Just because of the location, I try to think about, sidewalks and safety. So I do have some sites that might appear close together, but I do want to make sure that, I try to service as many children in that area. I do have sites on the northern part of town, Castle Hayne and Wrightsboro. And then I also have sites out on the southern part of the county as far as Mary C. Williams and Royal Palms.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yes.
And are these signs relatively new this year?
They are. Well, we just got a new design.
Okay.
Last summer we had them. I just kind of redesigned them, made them a little bit more easier to read when you see them on
Healthy
the streets.
foods.
Right. And free summer meals and available. And so if you see these signs, I try to put oranges and apples and something and colorful on the sign just to catch their eyes and let them know that we have a very healthy, delicious meal for them.
And will these be out prior to the site opening or just when they're open?
We're going to have them out. We're going to start putting them out June 18th. So they're going to be out and about. So hopefully people will remember this and come back June 29th.
And then if they can just pop online and find out what time that location opens.
Correct.
Then they can do that.
Yeah, and all schools
Very
have
good.
flyers available on the, I think they've already had those posted.
Okay, great. Well, thank
Yes.
you, Eimer.
You're welcome.
And I'll be
Thank
back
you.
in a few minutes right after these messages.
Want your kids to eat good food? Send them to the school cafeteria. They'll find fresh fruit, vegetables, and whole grains.
Research shows that school lunches are healthier and cost less than most lunches brought from home.
School meals are served in age-appropriate portion sizes and meet federal nutrition standards as well.
Sure, we still serve pizza with low-fat cheese, whole wheat crust, and salad. Want your kids to eat good food? Send them to their school cafeteria.
A message from the Child Nutrition Foundation.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are the #1 killer of children 1 through 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
I am joined to my far left by Jay McDonald, Prevention Coordinator, and to my close left, John Dale, Prevention Specialist with Coastal Horizon Center and the Cape Fear Coalition for a Drug-Free Tomorrow. John, let's pick on you first. What are the most common drugs used in New Hanover County?
Okay, so first in this order, alcohol, marijuana, followed by opiates. And I'd like to kind of talk about a few new things that are going on out there. So with marijuana, one of the newest things is, since the 70s, it's about 9 times stronger now than it was in the 70s, because a lot of the cartels have been using some very sophisticated agricultural practices in making these stronger varieties. And with that, we're starting to find out that people are starting to experience some mild withdrawal symptoms from it because of the strength of it. It's not just a psychological addiction anymore. A new thing that's out there is something called dabs. And dabs is a street name that you'll hear from students, and quite a few students know what it is in New Hanover County. But it's a wax form concentrated THC that's used in e-cigarettes. And quite a few students that I've done assessments with, substance abuse assessments over the last 2 years, have talked about that. And that's even stronger than the regular marijuana that's out there. And then also the third category that the students are using is opiates or prescription pills. And there's sort of a new street drug, well, for this area, probably for the last 1.5 or 2 years, even though it was started in Houston, Texas in the hip hop culture back in the 80s. But it's something called lean or Sprite or dirty Sprite. And it's a Sprite bottle with codeine prescription strength cough syrup and also Jolly Ranchers. One of the things I found out to do is I like asking students a lot of extra questions. I'll ask them, have you heard of any new drugs that are out there that older people were using, you know? And sometimes to them older people might be somebody that's in their 20s, you know. But anyway, lean is another one of those. And the reason why they put the Jolly Rancher candy in it is because it cuts the harshness of the codeine that's in the cough syrup. And one of the things with that too is the reason why they call it lean is because people drink enough of it, then they can't stand up, they have to lean on something. But that was a pretty popular one. And I've even known some students that have told me that they've had it on a school bus and passed it around, you know, so that's another one. And then also, so there's no confusion between these two. Another one probably in the last 3 years is K2 and Spice, which is a synthetic form of marijuana. A lot of people think it's actually a plant, but it's not. It's actually dried plant material with a chemical compound sprayed on it. And it's very different from marijuana. It actually acts more as a stimulant and a hallucinogen. Most of the students I've talked to, and I've done probably about 600 assessments over the last 2 years, most of the students, I'd say about 90% would say they only would use it one time and they'd never use it again because they had such a bad experience with it. So those are 3 of the things: lean, K2 and Spice, and then dabs. Those are the new ones.
And is the prescription drug use really up?
Yes. Okay, so the United States consumes about 80% of all the prescription drugs in the world.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so with that, there's more prescription drugs left in people's homes that they might be legally using, and that's why it's important for parents to lock up any medication that they have, because I found out that often middle school students, if they're using anything, sometimes often their first drug that they use illegally is prescription drugs. They'll actually skip over marijuana just because of the availability of the drugs in people's homes.
Makes sense. What are some tips as we're getting to graduation time to be safe and maybe not participate in some of this stuff?
The first thing for parents to do is to talk about home guidelines and rules regarding what they believe about alcohol use and drug use. The more specific they are about letting their kids know that they don't want them to do that at all, or if it's alcohol, wait till they're 21, the more likely their children will follow through with those home guidelines. Not just assume that the children, know
Know
they're
what
not
you
supposed
want,
to use.
right.
Yeah, the more specific they can be, that's what's called a protective factor. Also, having backup plans. Think about some scenarios that could happen. They might end up with a friend at a party and everybody's drinking. They didn't intend to be at that particular party for it to get out of hand. For them to have extra money, make sure cell phones are charged so that the extra money would be to call a cab in case they don't have a safe ride, even if they weren't drinking.
Right.
You know.
They don't want to get into a car with someone else who was.
That's right.
Sure.
And then all the parents I've talked to in doing a parenting class probably for the last 5 years said they would not fuss at their kids if they were called in the middle of the night. They would just agree to come pick them up, talk about it the next day. You know, and I had to, the students weren't convinced that the parents wouldn't be angry with them right then, and I would have an open forum, you know, bringing the teenagers and the parents and say, would you agree not to fuss at them if they call you in the middle of the night, if it's for a safety reason for them to get home?
Right. Jane, let's jump over to you. Why is it important for folks not to make sure the kids are drinking when they're 21 or even furnishing it sometimes for a celebration?
That's a good question. A lot of times people often think that when you think about waiting to the age of 21, they're looking at, you're just trying to kind of squash their milestones, the, you know, experimentation and things like that. But honestly, what we know from a public health matter is that the brain is still developing up until the age of 25, and youth who begin drinking before the age of 21 are 5 times more likely to develop an alcohol problem. So it's about protecting our youth and not setting them up to develop a dependency on alcohol. It is a health-related issue.
Very good. Now, there's a question here. What should parents do if they do find drug paraphernalia in a book bag?
Okay, so probably the first thing to do is it's always good to talk to your spouse and, you know, talk about exactly what you're going to, you know, talk to the kids about, you know, so far as consequences, you know, but also to talk about health concerns and legal concerns, you know, so that they kind of understand that piece of it. And then if you need to do an assessment, you know, sometimes I usually recommend that, you know, because I can do it like a short interview screening type assessment that it takes less than 30 minutes and doesn't cost anything, you know, and then they can get more information in case they feel like they need additional services.
So they would just call Coastal Horizons and ask for John Dale Prevention?
Yeah.
Okay. And real quickly, Jane, can you just tell us about the coalition and the next workshop that you have for the community?
The coalition is actually hosting a couple of summer series.
Okay.
We're going to have another one that's scheduled for Tuesday, July 14th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and it will be at the Northeast Library. And that is actually for, I would say, parents and students, but the title is Going to College, Staying Sober as a College Student. As students get ready to transition out of high school into college, we want to kind of help those parents be prepared and give them some tips about, you know, what they can help their students do so that when they're going away from school, away from home into school, that they're prepared, because they're going to be introduced to things that maybe they weren't when they were living at home as a high school student. So yes, and it's free and open to the public.
And that's July 14th?
July 14th,
Northeast
Library from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Very good. And we will have on the screen how folks can get in touch with both of you. We'll return right after these messages.
Hey, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
Been doing like I taught you. Love the new tattoo, Sarah.
Dude, that's Sarah. The girl in the pink shirt. That's the girl I was telling you about.
Theater 2 on your left. Hey, Sarah. What color underwear today?
Hey, Sarah. So when are you going to post something new?
Anything you post online, anyone can see. So think before you post.
Jangan aku gitu. This song was created with heartbeats of children in need. Find out how it can help frontline health workers bring hope to millions of children at everybeatmatters.org.
I am joined by Chris Halbert, and he's the assistant head lifeguard at Curie Beach. And we are here today to talk about ocean and sun safety.
Yep.
What are some of the risks associated with, ocean activity?
Well, basically, whenever people go to the beach, they need to understand that it is not really a controlled atmosphere, and that we have rip currents. You're in an open environment, you're under the sun all day. You're at risk for dehydration, sunburn, sun poisoning, things like that.
Okay. You talked about a rip current.
Yes.
Tell us what that is, how to spot one, what to do if you're in one.
Okay, so basically a rip current's just like a narrow channel of fast-moving water, and we usually see these when they occur when the tide drops, typically. Just that change in depth kind of causes these to show up, and around sandbars. So you'll have 2 sandbars, and then the rip current likes to form between them. And what happens is people will fall off sandbars into the deeper water, and then right into a rip current, and they'll suck you out. The rip current usually runs its course about, maybe a pier length out, which is a good indicator because everyone can see the pier from the beach. But
that was good. Yep.
Yeah, and they're usually not too wide, usually around 30 feet in width, but they can pull very strongly, and people wear themselves out in them, and it's one of the biggest risks we have on the beach.
And how do they wear themselves out?
Well, what they try to do is when they're caught in them, they start panicking, and they immediately turn straight towards the beach and try to swim straight in against the current, and that's just a losing battle.
So what should they do?
What they should do is immediately just try to calm down, stop panicking, because as soon as you do that, you're going to save energy. Let the rip current take you out. I know that's kind of scary, but honestly, it's the best thing you can do. You're going to save energy, you're going to get your wits together, and then once you get out of it, you'll get to the very end of a rip, and you'll feel it stop pulling. And then you're going to want to swim parallel to the beach, so sideways out of the rip current. And then once you do that, you swim in a little bit, and you should be able to get onto a sandbar, or just wait for a lifeguard to come and get you at that point.
And you guys can pretty much see that from where you are?
Yeah.
If somebody's being taken out that far?
Yes, especially on the lifeguard stands, you have good visuals of everything on the beach, so rip currents are pretty obvious from up there.
Are there places that we should know to expect them always?
Typically, any underwater formation like pipes, we have some drainage pipes that go out and around the piers. They like to form around there because the sandbars are kind of messed up around those spots, but they're pretty easy to see. You'll see some choppier water. You'll definitely see there will be foam on the water, and that foam will be moving out very quickly, and it will look kind of like a mushroom,
Gotcha.
The typical mushroom shape.
So what kind of precautions do you think people can take before they go to the beach?
Well, the biggest one would be know how to swim. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but honestly, we've had people who've gotten in the water knowing they couldn't swim and gotten caught in rip currents, and I know it's like it's a really scary situation for them, and yeah. But other than that, I'd say just observe the water before you get in, see where the rip currents are, ask a lifeguard. Just right when you get onto the beach, ask the lifeguard where the rip currents are there any risks, and they'll be able to point them out.
Oh, very good. Now you talked about, one thing I didn't think about is sun-related stuff. You talked about being dehydrated.
Yes, dehydration is actually a big issue we have on the beach. People are out there all day, like to come in the morning and stay until, dinner time.
Right.
And they don't think to drink water all day. And what happens is they basically just get dehydrated. They start getting lightheaded, and then they go to stand up, and next thing they know, they're passed out. So it's best thing you can do is just sip on water all day. Make sure you're, not lightheaded or anything. If you're feeling dizzy or anything, you'll note it. Drink some water.
Gotcha. Do you find that alcohol plays into that at all?
Yes, and actually alcohol is prohibited on the beaches, but some people bring it on still, and yeah.
So not only are they not hydrating, they're dehydrating.
Yes,
Gotcha.
themselves even more.
What about sunburn and sun poisoning and stuff like that?
So sunburn, that's typical. People get in the water, their sunscreen wears off, and then they just don't think to reapply it because they just put it on. But it can be pretty bad. People, especially lighter skinned people, they'll get fried out there, and then it's actually a pretty big risk for melanoma and skin cancer.
Very good. Where can people find information about ocean safety and some of these tips to keep in mind?
Well, on Mondays at 10 o'clock down in Curry Beach at the Pavilion, we have an ocean safety talk every Monday. And just for anyone who shows up, and we have pamphlets, we have papers that we hand out, and it tells you about the precaution or standard orders that how the beach operates, how the lifeguards conduct business on the beach, and just where things are located.
Oh,
but,
very cool.
Yeah.
So new visitors, Mondays,
Yes.
10 o'clock, they could find out what they need to know.
Yes. Any other information, they can call the Curry Beach Fire Department. But yeah, we ask lifeguards, and I think the ocean safety talks have been a really big help.
Interesting. Well, Chris, thanks for coming by and share this information.
Absolutely.
And I'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
May I have your attention, please? Would the owner of the spare tire, slightly hairy, with a little brown mole to the left of the belly button, it's an innie. Please report to the press box and retrieve your appendage. Oh, they must have lost this parking further away from the stadium and walking in. Yeah. Okay, we're back to the action.
Hey, Lena, where's yours?
We hope you've enjoyed our program today. To find out all the details on the New Hanover County Schools Summer Food Service Program, visit our website at www.nhcs.net/nutrition. You can also call the Child Nutrition Department at 254-4260. For more information on tips on teen drug and alcohol prevention, you can visit the websites www.coastalhorizons.org and www.capefearcoalition.com. If you would like to learn more about ocean safety and the Ocean Rescue Team, you can visit www.townofcurrybeach.org/ocean-rescue. Now, if you ever have any questions about the topics discussed here on our show today, please call the school system's Public Relations Office at 254-4180. I'm Shelia Evans, and thanks for joining me today.